The live video is starting. It says we're now live. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's going to be a terribly hot day in Sacramento. They say it's going to be 104. It's a crazy world out there. Terrible, terrible news out of Texas. And the new thing is monkeypox. And monkeypox is in California, and monkeypox is right here in Sacramento. It just keeps getting weird. But you know, for about 20 minutes, a half hour every day, I don't feel so weird because I'm here. I'm here with you, and I get your feedback, and it just does wonders for me. Anyway, I thought it would be fun today to visit the fantasy retelling of sort of my version of Aleister Crowley's adventures. And today I wanted to talk about when he first joined the Golden Dawn, because when we think of Crowley, we think of the Beast 666 and the wild and crazy cult leader of the Abbey of Thelema in Cefalù, but he was really a poignantly naive young magician when he joined the Golden Dawn in his 20s. And if you read his own autobiography, The Confessions of Aleister Crowley, you can see how touchingly naive he was. Spiritually speaking, it was such a profound naivete that because he could see there was no limits to the magic that was being presented to him, there was no limits to the magic. And but anyway, in the book, and the book is formatted as the book is being dictated as a screenplay or a treatment, and it's being dictated by an old disciple of Aleister Crowley a few days after Crowley's death, and he's being interviewed by a Hollywood member of Agape Lodge in Hollywood at the time, who had traveled to England in December of '47 for the funeral. And he's interviewing Sir Francis Bendick, a fictitious, of course. I may just pulled it out of my... And Sir Francis Bendick, who is a longtime elderly disciple of Crowley and one of England's most revered directors, who's about ready to die himself, and Milo Harlan, that's the California screenwriter, is interviewing him, and Sir Francis says, "No, just let me dictate to you a fairy tale." But anyway, in the plot, Crowley has almost accidentally and naively and wild-eyed, innocently got himself into the Golden Dawn. While they were voting on him at Mark Mason's hall, the Golden Dawn people, there was a big argument over him. his application because Bram Stoker thought that he was a perverted. He wrote perverse poetry and was had a tawdry reputation. But George Cecil Jones and had met him and realized that this guy was really cool. And anyway, but during the debate that was taking place down the street at Mark Mason's hall, Crowley was doing a homemade, just improvised black magic ritual in his own house to influence the gods to pass his application. And so we see that scene earlier on, and part of that black magic-y kind of homemade improvised thing Crowley was doing, he whipped himself severely in the back, flogged himself. Okay, while he was being voted on down the street. So I'm just setting you up there. It worked. They voted on him. He passed. And he was just getting ready to be initiated. The preparation room is a small windowless chamber with one plain wooden chair and a small wooden table upon which burns a single taper and a human skull with a green leaf between its teeth. The door opens. Crowley walks slowly inside, too slowly. He's pushed by a robed officer at the door, and the door is pulled shut behind him with a thud. Crowley wears a plain white robe. He sits down and closes his eyes. He's so nervous his hands shake. The door opens. We see Florence Farr. Tonight, she is the hegemon, the officer who prepares and guides the candidate through his initiation. She wears a white robe with a red cross sewn over the left breast. Her headdress is an Egyptian nemes with broad black and white stripes. In her right hand she holds a mitre-headed scepter. In her left she holds a black hooded blindfold and a coiled length of rope. She speaks clearly and deliberately. Child of earth, rise and enter the path of darkness. Crowley gets up. Farr sets to work blindfolding him and wrapping the rope 3 times around his waist. From under his blindfold, he asks in trembling seriousness, do many candidates die at their initiations? Farr smiles. Crowley cannot see. Fade to black. Now, Harland, who is taking the dictations, stops right there and says, fade to black? Sir Francis, surely we're not going to skip over the Golden Dawn neophyte initiation ceremony, are we? It's the most colorful and dramatic part of the whole story so far. Please. You know perhaps better than anyone alive today the details of the ritual. I probably shouldn't have interrupted Sir Francis's dictation, but since his fairy tale had taken us as far as the threshold of the Golden Dawn magical initiation ceremony, I could see no reason why not to treat the audience to the full experience. Milo, dear boy, are you suggesting we write a 12-hour movie? Of course, it'd be wonderful to shoot the entire series of Golden Dawn degree ceremonies, but exactly how, tell me, would that advance the story 1 iota? A story we must tell in 111 minutes. Get a grip, Brother Harland. Let's move forward. Sorry, Sir Francis, you're right, of course. My apologies. I don't know if I meant it or was just growing tired. I did want to see where he was going with this. And that leads us to chapter 11, the illustrious members of the Golden Dawn. Screen remains blank. Sound of voices and casual laughter of people changing their clothes. Interior shot of the Golden Dawn robe room. The initiation over, Crowley, Jones, and other male members and officers are changing back into street clothes. Crowley is tying up his floppy bow tie and trying to hide his tears from the others. He moves close to Jones and quietly asks for a word with him. I'm completely overwhelmed, George. For once in my life, I'm speechless. Jones laughs softly, but says nothing. Crowley gestures to the other members in the dressing room. Look at them, casually putting on their trousers when just moments ago they embodied the powers of the Egyptian gods. How is it done? Jones smiles. You'll learn, old man. Now hurry up. The others are waiting to congratulate you. Jones ushers Crowley into the more spacious reception room. The appearance of Jones and Crowley draw polite applause, and most of the members move toward them to offer Crowley their congratulations. Annie Horniman and Florence Farr are arm in arm and are the first to reach Crowley. Farr holds out her hand. Brother Crowley, let me be the first to offer my congratulations. I am... Crowley doesn't let her finish. You hardly need an introduction, madam. He kisses her hand. All London, indeed all the world, is in love with the incomparable Florence Farr. I fell in love with your Rebecca in Ibsen's Rosemersholm. I haunted the Avenue Theatre 3 nights running. Farr seems mildly flattered. So kind of you, Brother Crowley. May I introduce to you Miss Annie Horniman? Horniman offers her hand, Crowley still reeling from the memory of Horniman as the breathtakingly radiant Hierophant in his initiation ceremony, takes her hand as if it were the most fragile object in the universe. He properly near kisses it. Honored Miss Horniman, your family is in tea, is it not? Her family is tea, Brother Crowley, Farr injects with delight, and there's no more dedicated and generous champion of magic to be found on earth. Bram Stoker walks by, not intending to stop to congratulate Crowley. Horniman, however, snags him and draws him face to face with Crowley and makes the introduction. Brother Bram Stoker, you must meet our newest member, Mr. Aleister Crowley. Stoker looks very uncomfortable. His detestation of Crowley is apparent. Crowley doesn't notice. He has to search for Stoker's hand to shake. Now I got to digress here because many of you already know that in the Golden Dawn, they referred to each other as their magical motto, or even sometimes just as the initials of their magical motto. They wouldn't be calling each other Brother Crowley, Brother this, sort of in their official capacity. They would most of the time be referring to themselves and each other as their mottos of their particular degree. But we explain further here that this is for a movie, and that would not be practical to do that. So, but anyway, Crowley says, not the Bram Stoker who wrote Dracula. One and the same, Horniman chimes in with pride. Crowley pumps Stoker's hand. I enjoyed Dracula so much, most terrifying. I loved your use of multiple diaries. Stoker's at a loss for words. Great fun. Crowley doesn't seem to know when to stop. Of course, real vampires are rather pathetic creatures, not at all afraid of the light. I encountered several. I'd be happy to share my journals. Crowley is truly not conscious his words are insulting Stoker, who finally finds his voice. Mr. Crowley, I must speak frankly. I don't believe you are the kind of... Stoker's interrupted by Yates and Maud Gonne, who appear from the left. He seizes the opportunity to withdraw himself from Crowley's presence. Maud Gonne offers her hand. Welcome to the world of magic, Brother Crowley. Jones, who along with nearly every other man in the room is in love with Gonne, rushes to be part of the group. Miss Maud Gonne, may I formally introduce you to my friend and our newest brother, Mr. Aleister Crowley. Gonne releases Crowley's hand and squeezes Yates' arm affectionately. We understand you are a poet, Brother Crowley. I'm sure you're familiar with the verses of our brother William Butler Yeats. Indeed I am, Miss Gonne. An honor, sir. Gonne looks at Yates and gushes. We plan to free Ireland with his songs. How very nice, Crowley replies. I'm afraid my poems are only an attempt to free myself. Curiously insulted, Yates and Gonne remain smiling politely and start to take their leave. Yates parts with a bit of advice. Study hard, Brother Crowley. I shall, Brother Yates. When the congratulations are over, Crowley pulls Jones aside and asks, How do they do it? Do what, old man? How can they veil their glory so completely when not in temple? A shot of Allan Bennett staring at Crowley and Jones from the other side of the reception room. Bennett is leaning slightly on his walking stick. He coughs into a white handkerchief, but as he does so, his eyes never leave Crowley and Jones. Crowley sees this and shudders. Now there's someone who cannot veil his glory. I saw him for a moment in temple. He frightens me. To Crowley's horror, Bennett walks directly towards them. Oh dear, he's coming. When he arrives, Jones attempts to make introductions. Mr. Allan Bennett, may I introduce our newest neophyte, Mr. Aleister... Take off your coat, Bennett demands. What? Your coat, take it off. Confused, Crowley removes his jacket. Bennett places his hands on Crowley's back and feels the scourge welts through his shirt. Little brother, you've been dabbling in black magic. Quickly putting his coat back on, Crowley protests. You're mistaken, I'm sure. In that case, little brother, Bennett slaps Crowley on the back, making him wince. Black magic has been dabbling with you. And that's a true scene. It wasn't black magic. He said, Brother Crowley, you've been dabbling in Goetia. And he had. And Crowley lied to him at that first meeting and said, no, I haven't. He says, well, in that case, Goetia has been dabbling with you. But anyway, Jones attempts to lighten the moment. Aleister, I won't embarrass you. Excuse me, I hope I won't embarrass Allan when I tell you that he and Mathers are the greatest magicians of our time. Allan's a true adept, highest initiate we have. If you ask me, since Mathers moved to Paris anyway, why, I once saw Allan take that blasting rod of his. Bennett glowers at Jones. Jones shuts up, but then suddenly searches his coat pockets. Oh, I almost forgot. Jones hands Crowley an envelope. Your magical homework. Crowley opens the envelope and sees the Hebrew alphabet and some planet and zodiac symbols. He looks confused and a little angry. What's this? Are these your magical secrets I just swore a blood oath never to reveal? Bennett snatches the paper from Crowley. Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will, little brother. He slaps the papers back in Crowley's hand. Will you be able to make magic with just your will and the Hebrew alphabet? Others in the room notice the attention Bennett is giving Crowley. Several stop their conversations to stare. Bennett becomes self-conscious and tempers his attitude. He puts his hand on Jones's shoulder. Brother Jones, why don't you and Crowley come round to my flat Wednesday morning at 10? We'll give our new brother a magical orientation. There's obvious but silent reaction among the others. Jones is struck with gratitude and stammers. Yes, it'd be an honor. Thank you, Allan. Yes, of course. We'll be delighted. Bennett again slaps Crowley's back, then turns to exit. As he does, he twirls his walking stick like a baton. Members nearest him scramble to avoid the stick being pointed at them. Others look on in disbelief and talk amongst themselves. Bram Stoker is especially incensed. Crowley asks Jones, what's going on? I believe they're jealous, old man. Bennett's never invited anyone to his home. No one but Mathers. As Bennett reaches the door, he smartly tucks his stick under his arm. It appears to be pointing directly at Bram Stoker, who is standing near the window holding a saucer and a cup of tea. The window shatters, sending Stoker and a handful of others scurrying like mice. So that's Crowley's introduction to the illustrious members of the Golden Dawn, as dictated by Sir Francis Bendick to Milo Harland in 1947. And that is our escape from monkeypox, Sacramento, 104 degrees. And I do have a lot of work to do. There are many projects coming to a head all at once. And one of them starts in 20 minutes. Anyway, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. I hope you're enjoying this. Would it be fun if somebody actually turned this into a little series on Netflix or something like that? It'd be more interesting to me than a lot of things I'm seeing on Netflix. Anyway, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.